join us.
It's showtime.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
You're not here, you missing out, because this show...
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, listen up. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jay Cal. I'm joined with my compadres, mis amigos, my friends, the other Alliance guys. First, the man on the bottom, carrying the weight, Mr. Rick Del Santo. What is up, sir? How are you doing this evening?
What's that? What's going on, everybody? Was that a fat joke? Carrying the weight?
I meant you were carrying.
Gotcha.
You were like
I got you. Thank you. It's been a while since I've been here. At least it feels like, and I'm glad to be back. So
we always appreciate having you here.
Yes.
I meant you were like a pillar of the Alliance.
There you go.
And
I'll accept it.
Well, the four pillars would be like DK, Jaden, and myself, along with you now. That it's not a 3-pillar, it's a 4-pillar. And of course, DKM, that third pillar of the Alliance guys. DK, how are you? What?
So charming.
Yeah, people talking about boring stuff. Fine.
It can get worse. We can talk about, politics if you want.
He would enjoy that. DK would enjoy that.
Yeah, don't make me angry when we're supposed to. This is fun for me. I don't want to get mad. So.
Well, we could talk about the NWA, but if you really want to.
You said you want to talk about fun stuff, so why would we talk about the NWA? Hello!
That was my point.
I don't know. I might be giving up on the NWA. We'll see in the next few weeks because, I know it's hard. It's hard. It's kind of like a bad breakup in a way. You're trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And look, I'll be the first one to tell you, like, if you're not enjoying the NWA, maybe it is time to take that break, because it does feel like we're kind of in a rut here, right? It doesn't feel like it's changing as fast as we want it to. Like, I will say this, man, the skits, although some of them were still a little on the cringe side, not as bad as they have been,
Well, they're shorter, they're less, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Per episode. The commentary kind of booted out one guy. So that's kind of really enjoyable. So I think that maybe our tweets or maybe the show begging to get rid of him might have worked. So I would hope at least, but maybe not.
I'm also suspecting maybe he was out of town on business. I mean, like,
he was there. He was definitely there. I saw him, at that. So I think he might have been on stage at one point before the show at the table, but lucky for us, I saw him get up and walk away, and I was so damn happy. I said, he is not in the booth. I said, I can't wait to tell you guys.
I was thinking, like, because I know he was at the final Ozzy Osbourne performance, and I'm not sure exactly when that was, but I kind of thought that those might have, been at the same time, so maybe he wasn't there for that, but
why would he go to that? So, geez.
Well, no, I mean, look, he obviously his number one passion is music, right? Like that's
right.
And for him to be at Ozzy's final concert, I think makes a lot of sense. If we take away the idea of Billy Corgan just the bad NWA booker and just say, hey, Billy Corgan's a musician, then by all means, he should have been there to pay homage to Ozzy in his last performance. And of course, that was like a, if I had the means, I'd go see him too, but at the same time, I just felt like it was
trying to find the date of the July. That was July 5th. And this was 1 month later, right?
Yeah,
roughly 1 month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
That's what I was thinking. That's why we didn't see him. I just kind of assumed that those were the same time, but
he just accepted how bad he was and decided not to.
And I like, and Jaden is quick to say this. Jaden's not on right now, and I'm sure he'll be with us later. But Jaden's quick to say this. There's a time and place where Billy makes a lot of sense to be a part of the program, to be, hyping up things. But this, like on commentary week in and week out, he is not that guy. He just isn't.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we could express that anymore, pontificate it any better. It's like that's just it. He's not the guy. He's not good. When he complains about the storylines that he's writing for the show,
he contradicts a lot of his own like explanations of booking, you know what I mean, and rules and all this other stuff, and eventually we kind of somehow make sense of it, even though it's very frustrating.
When do we ever make sense of it?
Yeah, well, it's an idiot's way, I guess you can say.
There was a point in time where he said something like, so why do you think Odinson and Kratos only got ranked this far in the Crockett Cup? And we're like, what do you mean? Why are you asking us? You decided that. You made that pick. And I'm like,
well, yeah, there was one time he was like, well, I don't know why something happened. And it was like, because you booked it that way. Like he didn't know why the rules were what the rules were. One of those, I don't know, stupid rule matches.
There was a point in this.
There's a lot of those in the NWA currently,
right? And it was a gimmick match of some kind, and so, and he was like, he was saying something to the effect of, he goes, well, I don't know why it's that way. And it's like, you booked it that way, you moron. And
he said something, he didn't say it. Danny Deal said something this week. He's like, well, that should be against the rules. And then Joe Galli goes, well, this match doesn't have any rules. And he's like, well, it's not very nice. And that response to me was 100 times better than what Billy would have said. Well, we need to have a talk about these rules. Like, no, Billy, you booked that shit.
He might have been drunk when he actually thinks of these things and then makes it happen, and then just like, oh shit, this really is bad.
Here's the scary.
Well, I mean, there are times that he's admitted on the show that he doesn't understand what the booking is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's basically said I'm not sure why it's like this, or whatever. And it's just like, and one time I think there was one time he even acknowledged that it was his decision, but he didn't know why. And it was, something to that effect. And it was just like, okay, dude, I can't help you there.
And we could beat that dead horse to the ground, but I think we'll just let it go with, hey, I'm glad he's not on commentary. I feel like Joe Galli and Danny Dills do a very good job with the commentary, and
they're a great team. Yeah.
I think we should take a minute to acknowledge that, yes, this is the week that Natalia Markova won the NWA Women's World Championship. She is now the holder of the Burke. But I think we should celebrate just for a little bit about Kenzie Paige in 702 days as NWA Women's World Champion. She fell just a little short of Kamille's 800-plus day reign. But, when little Kenzie Paige came into the NBA, when she came into the NWA, I don't know that many of us would have saw her becoming the face of the women's division. I don't think many of us, when she came into the NWA, thought that she would have a run with that women's title as long as she did. And to her credit, she's a former tag team champion. She held the women's television title and took that title to Australia. And holding the women's world championship for 702 days, I think, deserves a little bit of celebration and an acknowledgement. I mean, she didn't just beat people in the NWA for that title. She was wrestling women outside of the NWA as well. She beat people like Frey the Slaya, Jada Stone. Jada Stone is a very well-received lady on the independent wrestling scene. Of course, victories over Tiffany Nieves, Missa Kate, Dani Jordan, who I know since then has retired. She beat Natalia Markova before. She beat Haley J. She beat Max the Impaler to retain that title. And again, she did that over the period of almost 702 days, nearly 2 years to the date of winning the title. She defended it all through 2024, 2025. She had a really good run, and I think we should, as wrestling fans, acknowledge how great Kenzie was. And then over on TikTok, good friend of the show, Wrestle Rant, brought up Natty Neihart. Yeah, she retained against Natty Neihart. Of course, not many people saw that. It's available on youtube.com/Alliance blog. But nevertheless, she did retain the title against Natty Neihart. She did face a lot of great challenges, and I don't know what's next for Kenzie Paige. I hope she's not going anywhere, but if she does, I really feel like she did all she could to help solidify the women's division and really did everything she could as a competitor in the NWA. DK, do you have any thoughts about Kenzie Paige and her reign as women's world champion?
Yeah, I do. I'll start with the negative. It was probably too long.
Yeah.
And she wasn't the show stealer that Kamille was.
This is true.
And so those are probably the two negatives. Outside of that, it was a really good reign. I mean, as you said, she beat a lot of people, not just in the NWA, but outside the NWA. Her reign was believable. I mean, you didn't necessarily, so Mims had a long reign as national champion, but it was almost like forgettable. Whereas her two years or almost 2 years was, it was a memorable run as champion.
Yeah.
Will she get another one? I don't know. Should she get another one? I don't know. But she had her time on top. She showed that she could handle being on top, and she did an excellent job. I know people like Chelsea Green in WWE, the current women's U.S. champion and one half of the AAA mixed tag team champions, has said a lot of positive things about her. I've heard Natty Neihart has said a lot of positive things about her. So, when you have two stars in the biggest promotion going, praising her, that's, who am I to argue that? Well, apparently Rick didn't like it. No.
I'm here. I don't know what the hell happened. And all of a sudden it blipped out for a second.
It booted you just for a second.
Jeez. Thanks for letting me back in.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
So anyway, my point being, it was a good reign. She did a good job, and I wish nothing but the best for her as her career continues. She's very young, so the good news about being very young, she probably still has a lot of years in front of her. Hopefully, she won't have something like Paige where she gets injured young. So,
yeah. Rick, what let me try that again. Rick, I mean, we just wax poetic a lot about Kenzie Paige. Do you have anything that you would like to add on?
Sure, I guess so. Yeah. I didn't really find her. I found her rather annoying at first. And I couldn't believe at first that they put the title on her. And I didn't think it was believable. Over time, I started to enjoy her more. Maybe that's just certain people in the NWA. And I just have to watch them for a little bit. There's other people like we talked about that despised in the beginning. The slime balls, for instance. And now I'm kind of, all right, these guys kind of, I'm on their side now. And that's definitely with this young lady. And I think she's got a bright future ahead of her. Because like DK said, she's still very young. And who knows what's next and who knows what's in store for her next. Because she could, if she's leaving, I don't think she'll be leaving. But if she's doing whatever, she could come back, win the title for another impressive reign. It's, I guess we'll find out because over time she really started to impress me and was putting on some of the best matches on the show. To be honest with you.
Do you
And,
want to feel old?
I am old. I already know this.
Do you want to feel older?
What's up? Well, how? Yeah, sure. Why not? Give it to me.
So I was just curious, and I was wondering how old Kenzie Paige is, because obviously, I mean, we knew she started young, but I don't think I realized how young she is. DK, do you know how old Kenzie Paige is?
23.
23. She was born March 5th, 2002, the year that the Angels won the World Series 23 years ago.
She's the same age as my daughter. Now I do feel old.
Man.
So.
My oldest is 21.
That's how.
What did you say?
I said they said it on the show. That's how I know.
Gotcha.
And at 23, like, she's not even anywhere near her prime yet, you know?
No.
You look at WWE, and sorry, Willie, I know you hate the WWE, but somebody like Dominic Mysterio is talked about as like the face of the future, right? And he's like 26 years old. Kenzie is still 3 years away from being to that point, so she's still way before her prime. And then real quick now, because now I'm curious.
Look at what Dominic's doing. Look at what Dominic's doing right now. Some fantastic work, I think.
100%. Now, just for giggles, I wanted to check. Kenzie Paige is younger than Roxanne Perez.
Okay.
Kenzie Paige is younger than Roxanne Perez. And I think the world of Roxanne Perez, too. I think she's a phenomenal talent. But that's amazing to me that Kenzie Paige at 23, she still has a lot of time. You know, and if I don't know what's next for her, and that was a question that Oob said, you know, what's next for Kenzie Paige? Well, the honest answer is I don't think any of us really know what's next for her. I don't think that I haven't heard anything that made it sound like she's leaving the NWA. And I wouldn't be surprised if she did, because I'm sure there's opportunity out there, especially with like what DK said. You know, Natty Neidhart had nice things to say about her. You know, Chelsea Green put her over huge a couple years ago. I mean, an NXT run is not out of the question for sure. So, yeah, I mean, that's crazy to think about. She's only 23. So, I don't know what's next. And if she stays with the NWA, I mean, there's options, of course. I don't think we go immediately to a Markova rematch. I think if that's something they want to build to later, I think that's something that should be at least 6 months away from happening. But there is a very talented tag team division starting to come up. I mean, you have, let me try that again. You have a very talented tag team champions and not a whole lot of challengers to go after them. You have Tiffany Nieves holding the television championship, and either one of those are perfectly legitimate options for Kenzie Paige. But I feel like if you put Kenzie and Kylie together as a tag team, not only will Kylie get better, but I think it would also enhance the women's tag team division. Jaden, welcome to the show. What do you think about what's next for Kenzie Paige?
That is a very good question. I think it's one of those, I think, instances that she needs to just go away for a while. How can I miss you if you don't go away?
Yeah.
Because she's done so much now that she's held the TV title. She's held the tag team title. She's held the women's championship. She was held it for a very long time. She just needs to either go on a greener pastures or at least just take some time away and come back later as a big surprise, or as, you know, when the people start missing her, and that's when she needs to come back, because that's when she'll have the most impact. Because right now she's just another player that's been there for so long that she's expected, so she's no longer special. And she's too talented to be not special, even if that stupid nose ring just makes me really annoyed. I wish somebody will just yank it out.
You really do hate that.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's a professional sport. You're supposed to be athletic competition. And the very first thing I would do if somebody did that was grab it and just yank it down.
Glad you don't wrestle against the women.
I'll do it against the men.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. That's fine. I don't care. So then, Rick, I'll pose the same question to you. What do you think is next for Kenzie Paige?
I don't know whether I don't think I haven't really kept up on the results on anything that's happened recently, so I don't know if she's been on any of the shows at all. But like Jaden said, time away is probably like really good because like how you could miss somebody and then it just builds up. Like it's more exciting when they make their return and then be able to challenge for that title and work their way back to that title. Um, yeah, I really don't know what's next. I mean, if she leaves, I mean, where could you see her going if she does leave the NWA?
The first answer, I think, to me, is TNA.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think she's quite ready for the other two yet, whether it be NXT or AEW. I think that TNA would probably be a pretty good fit for her and get some work in there for a while before trying to go anywhere else.
Do you think women in the NWA see what happened with Kamille and it makes them more trepidatious to go to AEW?
Well, and not just Kamille, right? But also Kia Foster, aka I forgot her real name or her wrestling name, Johnny Mundo's wife, Taya Valkyrie.
Oh yeah,
Like her too. Taya was like top notch in TNA. She went to NXT where I don't think they ever utilized her the way they had.
She didn't really even do anything there. Like she and then she ended up didn't she end up back in TNA for a little bit, but then going right to AEW?
I think she just went right to AEW.
She went right to AEW? Okay.
And then basically she's been a part of Ring of Honor where they're not even really utilizing her very well there either.
That's the problem with Tony Khan in AEW. He does like whoever signs that has like the most amount of talent. He's like, all right, we signed you. You've been on TV 2 weeks. Go sit home or whatever. It's like people don't like, and that's the worst part about it because there's so much great talent there that you never see on TV. He just signs people just to sign people. It seems like at least so they won't go anywhere else. So they can't go anywhere else. And that's like a Vince move that he used to do, shit like that. So, all right, we're signing you, putting you in NXT, but guess what? You're sitting home for a year.
Some people like to collect the toys and put them in boxes and let them sit in the back. Some people like to collect toys and play with them. Tony Khan will play with them and then just put them on a shelf for a while.
Yeah, there's people that are dying to see these people. You know what I mean? Like Taya Valkyrie still has many good years ahead of her. You know what I mean? So,
and as Chris Shoemaker pointed out on TikTok, Taya was big in Mexico too. She worked for AAA, and she was part of
go straight to AEW.
Say that again.
So she didn't go straight to AEW.
She didn't.
She worked the independents. Well, that's when she was showing up in the NWA because she was working independents. She came to the NWA for a little bit while she was wrestling the others. I think she made a couple of appearances for Impact TNA, but wasn't signed.
Okay.
And she did. She held the AAA Women's Championship actually when she was wrestling Kamille for the title. And her last match against Kamille, she beat her in Mexico where she was defending the AAA title and Camille's title wasn't on the line. And so she was very successful until she went to AEW, who started with her and then didn't seem to care anymore. And I think there would be some trepidation about going to AEW if you want to be a wrestling star.
Because real quick, just to kind of punctuate what you guys were saying. Yes, Taya Valkyrie, after she left the WWE, the NXT, she was working not only Impact, but also MLW and the NWA as well.
Also MLW title?
Yeah, she was the MLW. I can't remember. I think that was like the featherweight championship, like the women's title.
Right.
And she was the AAA Reina de Reinas champion, and she was even the XP. She was even an XPW for a hot minute as their women's champion. So she did quite a bit on the independents before going to AEW, and even joining the AEW roster. Like she just spent most of 2025 doing stuff for CMLL. Like she did an entire tour from most of March. She was at CMLL, but again, very limited appearances on television, and it's kind of a shame because she is super talented too. So to the point that that Jaden brought up, yeah, I think I would have some trepidation about going to AEW if I was a women's wrestler, because Kamille had a fantastic run with the National Wrestling Alliance and held that title, and she was very highly regarded as a free agent, and she went to AEW and they wasted her as Monet's heater that she never even needed her. And then Taya Valkyrie, the same thing, never did much with her either.
I think when it comes to Kenzie, if, and that's a big if WWE was interested in her, they would probably sign her to some type of ID deal.
Yeah.
And then probably put her in Evolve and stuff like, which would probably be the right way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
WWE is a different style. You got to learn how they do things. It's not an easy jump. You know, they sent Jade Cargill to get trained twice. And she already had name value coming in. So yeah, I mean, I would say if she probably needs to take time off from the NWA work. I'm sure there are plenty of independents she can work, you know, in the Tennessee area, Carolina area, all that.
For sure. Or
even work, you know, go out to Missouri or here Texas and, you know, work some dates. That'd probably go off POWERRR for a while and, you know, learn a new hold, come back with a new finisher or something.
Well, in terms of Kenzie Paige, and I know Rick said like he hadn't really been keeping up with what she's been doing since. We do know that she was at Saw When. She wrestled in a, you know, men's versus women tag team match, the Kazana Boys versus the Henry Sisters. And as far as Kenzie goes right now, just looking up her match history right now, she's been working with JCW. She's been working with TWE in Tennessee. And, you know, even before that, of course, working with Crossfire and working in some of the other territories. And really, like, she's done stuff with New South, which is in Alabama. She's done stuff in like Georgia area. So, like, I you know, there's plenty of places for her to work. You know, Coastal Championship Wrestling just announced a new TV deal on the Gray Media. So Coastal Championship Wrestling might be another hot spot for talent to go. But, you know, and then the thing about Kenzie, too, it's like I don't feel like she's really limited to where she can go. I feel like she can get bookings almost anywhere. You know, she's talented enough where I feel like she has opportunities if she's going to go indies. There's a lot of places to work, not just in the South, but, you know, in the Northeast and on the West Coast. I mean, there's lots of opportunities.
Which JCW do you mean? Juggalo Championship Wrestling or Jersey Championship Wrestling?
Juggalo, but I think she's already worked with Game Changer as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if she did do some JCW stuff, but I meant the Juggalos.
Who's going chicken hunting? We's going chicken hunting.
The only Juggalo song I ever liked is when they did the theme song to Vampiro and WCW. I thought that was a pretty good song.
I don't even think I've ever heard them before.
You're not missing.
Call me crazy, but
no, you're not crazy. It's a very generational thing, and I felt like I was the old man hearing this stuff when I listened to some of it. It was weird because in Southern California there were.
And by generational, you mean there were like 2 years that they were popular.
No,
there were like 2 years they were popular with like about, you know, an age group of a 2-year span. So
they have an audience, right? Like they do have a built-in audience, and they get a lot of people to go to their shows, but it's not music that speaks to me or to the people that I surround myself with. But like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the whole, like, it's like a family type environment. Like not family as in the mom, dad, but everyone's brother.
I was going to say, dude, like, I don't think so.
No, it's very like it's like us versus the world. And if you're a juggalo, you're in. Like you can be friends with any juggalo, and they don't care about your race, they don't care about your sexual orientation, they don't care about your religion beliefs. Like, are you there to party? Cool, then you're one of us. And if you're not, then goodbye. It's wild. Like, the whole thing is, it's like, I think in a couple of years from now, people might study this as like, what was that whole thing about?
When I was the station manager to the college radio station, it got regular play. Both in the college radio station and in the vocational school radio station, they both got regular play. They were very requested and very represented in both of those times, both of those radio stations. So it was an era. It was definitely 90s. It was definitely 90s, and I know they were very popular all up until like the early 2000s. So late 90s, early 2000s. I think it's more than 2 years, DK, but it was. I just know that there was a lot of people in my generation, and Jay's part of it, that was a thing.
It never resonated with me, right? Like, I don't ever want to put face paint on. Like, maybe the Ultimate Warrior, and that's it. But it really resonated with people, and it still does. Like, it's weird. You'll go on TikTok and you'll see people full on the Juggalo face paint, having the Hatchet Man necklace, and you're like, what am I looking at here? Like, what's going on? No, it's still happening. Willie Mack, one of my favorite independent wrestlers from SoCal, is a huge Juggalo, and he's at all their shows, like, not just as a wrestler, but as a spectator. He goes to the concerts too, and you're like, it doesn't make sense, but apparently it does.
They did write a song about Boris Malenko, though.
They definitely did. Weren't they at one point being investigated as like a cult?
No, as a gang. As a gang, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that's still an ongoing thing, that the FBI classifies them as a gang.
It's just wild to me.
It's a bunch of people doing drugs and watching wrestling.
I'll take the wrestling part, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. Look, and I mean, at the end of the day, you know, like, that's not my lifestyle, and I don't think it's the lifestyle of you three gentlemen, but it is what it is.
I do have a bit of a caffeine addiction.
I do.
Oh, caffeine, yeah. I drink probably 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day. Yes, call me crazy, everybody, but
Pro Wrestling Gatekeeper says, legally, if you claim to be a juggalo or juggalette, you are in a gang.
Oof.
This is for all the juggalos and juggalettes. Have you seen that guy?
Yes, and somebody needs to push him into a wood chipper.
Oh, I do see some of this stuff pop up on my TikTok every now and again, you know. And did I think I've seen them wrestle on occasion as well. I think they wrestled GCW, did they not? Probably.
You're thinking of, yeah, but we're talking about somebody else. Well, we are. They did everything.
Did I? What am I?
Yeah. Oh. You missed what we are. There's a guy who basically.
Oh, that guy. I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. I have no idea what you're talking about with that thing.
He was really popular, like, prior to COVID, but I still think he's out there doing it. And it's this. He kind of. Oh, he looks like the guy from AEW a little bit. The Death Riders. The guy with the young guy.
Wheeler Yuta?
Yeah, he looks.
You're talking about. Are you talking about Superhuman? That guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. That guy. For some reason, that guy keeps coming up on my feed every now and again. It's like, I'm like, oh god, this dude's crazy.
A Pro Wrestling Gatekeeper says he works shows in GCW and JCW.
Definitely does.
I would never pay to see that guy. I would never buy any of his merchandise. I think he's an absolute joke and a disgrace to pro wrestling. But for whatever reason,
he's not even trained. He just started doing stuff like that on the internet, and that's how he got booked. He never trained like officially. So why would you hire somebody that's untrained? That's dangerous.
Because somebody thinks it's going to grab attention and money to take advantage of a special needs person.
That's probably
exactly
more
what it is.
Than
okay.
than any of us would willing to admit. I just laugh when he goes, "This is for the juggalos and juggalettes." It makes me laugh. I don't know. Anyways,
yeah, before he jumps onto a microwave.
It looks like he's gonna break like half his ribs doing stuff like that. It's crazy.
I'm sure that kid is not living without pain. I'm sure he wakes up in pain all the time.
Yeah.
I would never do that. You couldn't pay me to jump onto a microwave or anything else like that, but hey.
Not at all.
The next thing we should talk about, and again, congratulations to Natalia Markova. It's well-deserved, and I feel like she's going to have a great run as champion. But I, again, wanted to celebrate, give Kenzie her flowers. I feel like the last 2 years, she definitely earned them. And like Rick said in the beginning of the show, he didn't necessarily even like Kenzie when he first saw her, but grew to respect her because of how she's grown as an athlete, as a performer. And what she does next, don't really know. But I'm excited to see whatever opportunities unfurl for her. The next person I want to talk about when it comes to opportunities is Mike freaking Mondo. Who knew
What
that?
about Mike? What about Mondo?
Who would have known that AEW and Tony Khan announcing a new championship titled the National Championship and trying to pay homage to the championship that was on TBS when he was a youngster would get this much attention on the National Wrestling Alliance and on Mike Mondo. And this is something that DKM was bringing up to me earlier today. We're like, well, what are we going to talk about tonight? And he says, well, what about Mondo? He's getting a lot of notoriety.
Right.
He is. It might be the greatest thing for the NWA right now, him calling out the stupidity of Tony Khan and AEW with that title. And, it's working in his favor.
I mean, look, this couldn't have gone any better if it was planned. Because
Yeah, the timing was great.
yeah, because Khan made the announcement like the day after we saw him win the title. And so it was like, oh my, Tony Khan, the gift that keeps on giving right there. He did the NWA the biggest favor. And I don't know how well the NWA is taking advantage of it as a company, but between Brian Idol and especially Mike Mondo killing it, absolutely killing it on social media. Did he listen to Jaden? Is that what happened? Jaden, did he listen to you?
I don't know. Dr. Zirconium is a big fan of Mike Mondo, and he had me put everything out there on the different socials. So as you saw at Dog Social, you saw them posting about it and trying to get some more momentum, trying to get some attention. On Reddit, it absolutely exploded. It's about 50-50 pro AEW, anti-AEW. But it absolutely exploded on Reddit right now about this, and it's got more people talking about it on Reddit than probably you watched Power this week.
One more quick interruption, and then I'll let you guys have your say on it. But this has been brought up on Wrestle Talk. It's been brought up by Jim Cornette. It's been brought up by, I can't remember the name of the guy that does all the stuff with Dutch Mantel and others. The British guy. Yeah. His name's escaping me at the moment. And it's been brought up in all sorts of other areas on other wrestling podcasts. I mean, the NWA has not had this much press probably since Billy bought it.
Or at least the beginning of Power, yeah. Or since Jim Cornette made a bad chicken joke.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yep.
I love it. Honestly, Mondo's great. I have a feeling that he's going to show up on this podcast sometime soon.
Ooh.
And I love it. I'm loving it now. I actually want to go and have all of us while we're here pick about 5 people. I have 5 in AEW, in NWA, and 5 out of the NWA that I'd love to see him capitalize on. And I'd love to see what you guys think. Or what your guys' suggestions are. What do you think? Who would you like to see him to capitalize on this momentum?
And we're talking about 5 guys outside of the National Wrestling Alliance?
I have 5 in the NWA I'd like to see him against. I have 5 outside the NWA I'd like to see him against. If you want me to spell mine, you guys could share yours.
That would be a great idea. That also gives us time to kind of put together a few names. But why don't you start first?
All right. Should I start from the bottom up, or should I start from like 5, one from NWA, number 5, and stuff like that?
Yeah, do that.
All right. In the NWA right now, if we're just choosing the NWA, number 5, I want him to be against Jack Vaughn.
Jack Vaughn, okay.
Jack Vaughn's got a little bit of a buzz. He's got the internet. He's got a big following on the internet. He still works for OVW. Even I would rather the match happen in OVW on OVW television, but it would also wouldn't mind it happening on NWA. Hell, it could happen on both. But I think they could do some promos on it. Jack Vaughn can hype it on his Instagram, and that will help build up attention.
Yeah.
Number 5 on non-NWA that I'd like to see him against would be, and it's for the exact same reason, would be Tommy Invincible. Not the biggest Tommy Invincible fan, but he's still got a little bit of a buzz out there. He's still got some name value, and he can do some promos on it. Cut it, and people will pay attention to it. The people that like Tommy Invincible are like juggaloos and juggalettes. They absolutely love him. Okay. So that would grab some great attention, I think, that I would like to see. All right, number 4, unofficially a former Spirit Squad member, the Pope.
Okay.
Originally, he was supposed to be in the place, and I think Mikey got his spot.
Really?
Because originally they were going to bring in and he lucked out and got out of that. I don't know how, but the Pope was originally supposed to be one of the 4 members of the Spirit Squad.
Oh,
that is wild. That's weird to think about.
So imagine that now. You got the Pope's interviews, and he could use Mondo's intensity, and you got Aaron Stevens. When he does cut a good promo, it's a good one. When he doesn't, it's a horrible one. But if he can get a good promo out there and get something going, I'd really like to see him out there, just putting his name out there and that feud on NWA television. I think that would be great.
Okay.
All right. Outside of the NWA, I'd like to see him against Big Ben Bishop. Again, somebody with some buzz, somebody with some name value, somebody with some clout, and he's a big boy. He is 6. They call him 6'12", but he's a very tall man, a very athletic man for his size, and he can cut the promos. They can put it on the internet. People will pay attention to it because it's Ben Bishop. Similar reasons. From the other 2 that I've mentioned, like the Jack Vaughns and the Tommy Invincible, I think that'll be great. All right. In the NWA, the 3rd one in the NWA I'd like to see him against is Hammerstone.
Oh,
God, I'd love to see him and Hammerstone. First of all, whatever supplement shop was in the area when that match happens is going to get a lot of good business. But that match, I really want to see him against Hammerstone. Hammerstone has name value. That match alone would be something I think that would, just the physical on the poster would draw the attention. All right. Outside of the NWA, Richard Holiday.
Yep.
Richard Holiday, talented guy, strong man, with that signature maneuver. Signature maneuver, yeah. He's got the buzz. He's got so much talent, and he's finally getting his flowers that he deserved. He kind of coined that phrase, "we're all stealing," even though it's other people said it, but he made it really popular in the wrestling world. And I think that'll be something I would really like to see, is him against Mike Mondo. All right. So that's 3 on each. The second option, number 2, for the NWA that I really, really, really want to see him against is EC3.
EC3.
He's a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He's a former NWA National Champion. If Mondo wants to be World Heavyweight Champion, he needs to get those big wins. And I think that would be a really big win for him. I think that would help elevate him. Again, big muscular guys beating the crap out of each other. Always good for television. Looks good on the poster. And he's got some name value, so they can kind of capitalize on that. All right. Outside of the NWA, I'd like to see him against Matt Cardona.
That was going to be one of mine. I'll figure out something else.
You can say too. I don't care, but we can match it, whatever. But Matt Cardona, again, same reasons as all the other. If you're going to try to capitalize on it, you need to capitalize on somebody that's least people care about and is known value, name value, and can put out the publicity out there to make it happen. They can cut promos on a radio show. They can do all kinds of stuff, and they can get it going. All right. In the NWA, the number 1 person that I'd like to see him defend that NWA National Championship against is That's going to actually create some buzz, get some information, build up the bigness out of that whole big situation right there. Is Tom Latimer.
Ooh.
Former NWA World Champion, former NWA National Champion, former NWA Tag Team Champion, former NWA TV Champion. The match, again, it's something that could build him up as a future challenger to maybe even a future world champion to get that shot. And then the number one person outside the NWA I want to see him against, and I really hope somebody's listening to me and get this done, Nick Nemeth.
Oh, damn.
Spirit Squad go one-on-one against each other. I think that would be great. I think that would be very entertaining. I think that people would, it would make people care about Mondo because it's like it's basically like, let's take this thing that was the worst part of our career and completely bury it and have a 5-star classic and a 24-star in Japan and just have a great match and just completely elevate Mike Mondo and really just help them just drop that whole bad taste in their mouth and just show everybody what they really can do. Because don't forget, if it wasn't for Nick Nemeth and it wasn't for what was the other guy? The other guy in the Spirit Squad that was really Kenny Dykstra. Nick Nemeth was considered the most talented if he didn't have to go against those two. So those are the two that held him out from being the most talented member of the Spirit Squad. That's a lot of talent. And unfortunately, Kenny Dykstra didn't really capitalize on it like he should have, but still, or like everybody thought he was going to. But he was so damn talented. And Mike Mondo, the only reason he wasn't the most talented member of the Spirit Squad is because those two existed. And he was more talented than just about anybody else in the tag team division at that time, too. So I think right there that if you put those 10 matches together in NWA, you build up a challenger for Billy, you build up maybe a future world's champion, and you really capitalize, you make that national title mean something. Those are 10 matches. And I'm sure there's more out there that I didn't think about, but that's right there. That's a way to capitalize on buzz.
All right. Does anyone have any other names that they want to throw out there?
Well, I was going to say Richard Holiday. I had that on my list. Well, of people I named. So
there's others out there. I mean, him and Wrecking Ball would be fun.
Well, that was also a name that I chose as well. I'm kind of now, so I always bring him up for everything. But, yeah, but
well, I
think
I figured you were going to. I'm surprised you didn't.
I think it would be a fun match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like I think it would be fun. I also thought maybe him against AJ Kazana could be a fun match as well. AJ,
that was on my list.
There you go.
AJ could work a variety of different styles, as could Slade. I think that could they can go out there and put on a fucking great wrestling match, just great wrestling match, pure wrestling match in it for that title. You don't have to agree, but you know.
I know. I haven't heard a bad suggestion yet. DK.
Well, I said Trevor Murdoch earlier.
Oh yeah, I like that one too.
That would just be a Haas kick-ass.
Yeah.
In Texas only, I put him against Bam Bam Malone because it would be that Malone's kind of a thinner guy, but I think he could work more of the flying style against the pounding again of Mondo. You took my number one idea, which was Hammerstone. And Dante Casanova.
Yeah, that's
a good
one.
Yeah,
I like that one.
That's a good one.
Was another person I had in mind. And let me think. You said both Cardona and EC3 were two of my choices.
Mm-hmm.
And
I just thought of another one off the NWA thing is Nick Camarado.
Where's he from?
Maryland. But originally from Pittman, New Jersey.
Was he a Monster Factory guy, right?
He was a Monster Factory guy, and he did AEW, and he was WWE developmental for a while, basically doing the ogre gimmick from Revenge of the Nerds.
That's awesome.
Well, we should all do that gimmick. But yeah, I mean, that's all I really have at the moment. I'm sure I'll come up with others since Jaden sold all the good ones.
Not even Dijak.
That would well. He's really hot right now too. He's
Yeah.
around here. I'm going to see him Saturday. I was thinking WWE ID talent Brad Baylor. He's on Evolve each and every week. That dude, I think he's a very, I kind of bring him up a lot, and I think that because I've gotten to witness this kid from his beginnings to getting signed to the WWAD program and stuff, and I just think that kid is probably got one of the brightest futures in the world of professional wrestling.
Hey,
I'm going to steal one that I'm real quick. I think one I'm surprised Jay didn't say, and maybe that's because he hasn't had that chance yet.
Can't say anything.
But I was going to say Karrion Kross.
Oh, that's a good one too. I didn't think about that, but Karrion Kross is a really good one.
Oh, I really thought that was going to be one of yours. Go ahead, DK. You had a question?
Does Ray Jazz still wrestle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wrestles for Gotham and other promotions.
Did you say Ray?
I'd like to see.
You say Ray Jazz? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Former Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators champion.
Oh wow. He still wrestles. I think he wrestles. I know he was a regular Wrestling Open for a while. I'm not sure if he still is. I haven't watched the program in a while.
He lessens his schedule during amateur wrestling season because I think he's a coach.
Oh, okay.
I got some names. Can I go?
No.
Go.
Oh.
All right. So these are going to be the names outside of the National Wrestling Alliance. The first name I thought of was QT Marshall.
Okay.
I know QT does AEW, ROH stuff, but he's also very much a part of One Fall Wrestling in Atlanta, Georgia. They do a lot of stuff in that area. And I don't think he's ever going to be the top guy in AEW, but he certainly could be a top guy in the Indies. He has a great look, and I feel like him and Mondo could have a banger of a match. And speaking of bangers of a match, I'm going to go with Bad Dude Tito number 2. You've seen Bad Dude Tito in the United Wrestling Network. We've seen him in MLW. He's a former open weight national champion for MLW, and I feel like Tito could really have a good match with just about anybody. And him and Mondo, like Tito even calls himself like a Mexican Steiner brother. So I feel like him and Mondo might be pretty freaking epic going back and forth. Third guy I picked was another WWE ID talent is Jordan Oasis. That guy is built pretty big. I don't think he is featured heavily as much like in Evolve and stuff, but he is one of the ID guys, and I've seen him wrestle a couple times. I think that dude's phenomenal. Then the fourth guy, I was thinking Carlito, just because of the name value. If
that would be cool.
and he spits in the face of people who aren't cool. And then this is kind of a pie in the sky kind of hope, but Kojima comes over a lot to the States to wrestle for MLW. Kojima versus Mondo might be a very interesting match, and I wouldn't mind seeing that one. And as far as NWA guys go, I did not come up with a huge list, but Matt Cardona was on my list for NWA guys. AJ Kazana is on the list for NWA guys. I also kind of like the idea of Daisy Kill getting an opportunity with the national title. Just hasn't. I don't think it's going to work its way out, but he's another guy. And then Carl the Machine Gun Anderson. I know that he is more used as a tag team wrestler, but I feel like he could really have a good run as a singles competitor if the NWA ever chose to put a belt on him. The last singles title he held was the open weight championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling, the Never Open Weight Championship. And he's also a former NWA British Commonwealth champion from way back in the day. So I would love to see Carl the Machine Gun Anderson get those kind of opportunities as well. But I think we just came up with a huge list of some really good names in there. And I think, hey, Billy or independent promoters across the country, like we just gave you some pretty good 5-star matches.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Others in the NWA that might be good are Jay Bradley.
Yes, of course.
Oh, yes. I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
And if you not break up the tag team, but give Odinson and Kratos singles matches against them, I think that'll be fun. The the wrestler that almost has a similar build to Marshe Rocket. That's part of Bullet Place Trauma.
Yeah, that guy. Damage.
Yeah, that guy. I think that'd be fun. Of course, the rematch with Mims. There's that.
Oh, hey, real quick on TikTok, our friend Chris Shoemaker is pissed because he's like, "How could no one say James Storm?" I think
It's all about your damn luck. Yeah, actually, I'd love to see him versus James Storm.
Yeah,
Jamie
absolutely.
can't wrestle against Willie Mack.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was the low hanging fruit we totally missed. 2 former national champions would have been perfect. Let's see. I'm just reading some of the comments. Okay. We'll get to some of those questions.
What about Damian Wayne and Chance Prophet?
Dead silence.
No?
Maybe Damian Wayne. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm done with Chance Prophet. I feel like I don't want to say anything bad about the guy because he was nothing but nice to me. But at some point, it takes a toll, and wrestling is a young man's sport, and he's been at it for a very long time. And I don't want to say anything negative because he was always good to me. I don't know. Just my feeling.
He just recently wrestled for AEW twice. Well, once for Ring of Honor, once for AEW.
Yes, that's true. In that case, Scorpio Sky. Let's bring in Scorpio Sky. I want to see that.
That'd be fun.
That'd actually be a really good match. I know that's not going to happen, but Scorpio Sky and Mondo, that'd be a banger. Our pal Double D points out that James Storm is currently working with JCW. Impact 88 brought up Brock Anderson, the son of Double A, Arn Anderson.
Okay.
That would be
fun. That'd be fun. Yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't made. I think he's signed to MLW now, but I mean, I'm surprised that over time he hasn't made any appearances with the NWA. Honestly.
Yeah. You would think that that would fit in right up his alley.
Absolutely.
And you would think there would be like mutual interest because maybe you could get Double A to make appearances too. And that would be like
a dub.
Yeah. And you pull out his Glock.
Yes.
All right. Real quick, before we get to Power, Noob says, I got a question. What's next for Natalia Markova now that she's the NWA Women's Champion? I believe 6 to 8 months, no long title reigns. It gets boring. Just make Natalia's reign memorable. Do you feel
problem is 6 to 8 months is only like 4 matches in the NWA.
Yeah, it's like they don't, because their TV tapings are like once a month, and then you only see that person once per TV taping. So that's once, like Jaden said, every probably 4 or so months. But they build it up, and it's just, to me, it's aggravating, but whatever.
Yeah, I kind of feel like 6 to 8 months, 6 to 8 months might be fine as a champion, but realistically, okay, so she's had the belt for 1 month. We know that she had a title defense at Saw Win. More than likely, she had a title defense at the Tampa tapings that were between Saw Win and the 77th anniversary show. And more than likely, there'll be at least one title defense at the TV tapings next month, December 13th. But with that being said, like, what's next for Natalia? I mean, look, what they did already is they brought in Shotzi Blackheart, which was a relatively big name. It seems like they're bringing in, oh man, I forgot her name. The champion from Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling,
Giselle, or something like that.
They're bringing her in, and I can only imagine she's being brought in to face Markova. I mean, I think you do more of that until there is an established number one contender in the NWA Women's Division, whether that be Tiffany Nieves or Kylie or somebody we don't know about yet. I feel like you don't just give anyone in the NWA title shot. You bring in these names that kind of have some value, that if Markova beats them, she grows. Because Markova beating Tiffany Nieves today, She already beat her. She beat her when she wasn't champion. Why would it make a difference now that she has the title?
Right.
You know, if Nieves is the answer, then Nieves has to go through some growth before she gets an opportunity to wrestle Markova. And you know, I don't need her to wrestle. As much as I loved Kenzie as champion, as much as I want to see her as champion again, she could take some time off. She doesn't need to get that rematch anytime soon. I would rather see Kylie challenge for the title at this point before Kenzie.
I'm tired of that match.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of a stretch too. And yeah, Double D, the Giselle, let me say that again. Giselle Shaw is in a relationship with Scott D'Amore, or at least
Still?
was.
Still?
At least was.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know. I'm not the TMZ of wrestling. I don't really know.
Are you sure?
I try
But
not
you
to
were
be.
I thought that maybe this is maybe. Do you think that that's going to build like a relationship with Scott D'Amore coming to the NWA as well? That was when I saw Giselle Shaw coming to the NWA. It's just something that sparked in my head. If he could turn TNA around, maybe he could fucking rebuild the NWA to a positive. I mean, maybe I'm only hoping or wishing or.
Look, I agree with 100% that if Billy were to bring anybody in, Scott D'Amore might be the person to bring in. But you know, I don't know if that's exactly what Billy wants either, because you got to remember this is his baby, and I think he wants to run his baby.
He needs help. Let's be serious. We've spoken about it numerous times. I think each and every week we talk about how he needs help doing this stuff, and stick to being a rock star and leave the wrestling to wrestlers or bookers.
One of the things Jim Cornette was talking about this in relation to Tony Khan, but it fits also with Billy, and that is, you know, it gets tiring and exhausting booking all the time. Yeah. That's why people like Bill Watts would sometimes he would directly book, but a lot of times he would hire a booker. And so he would set the overall tone or whatever, and then let the booker put the matches together.
Yeah.
And then like if something, and you know, bookers rarely lasted more than a couple of years.
Right.
Especially in the 80s. Earlier they would, but you know, like in the 80s and stuff like that. And as a guy, they would only last a couple of years because then somebody else would want them, or just like the talent, you kind of needed to freshen something up. And so then, you know, Watts had Bill Dundee, and then he kind of went back to Ernie Ladd, and then he kind of did it, and then he stole Ken Mantell from World Class, and I don't know why. And you know,
didn't Ken Mantell walk out and then start Wild West as well?
Yes.
At one point? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
And don't forget about Eddie Gilbert.
Right. Oh, and
he was all over the place.
Eddie Gilbert booked everywhere for a little while. Sometimes he was good, sometimes not so good.
I think early ECW, he did booked USWA, Puerto Rico, like all sorts of everywhere, really.
Right.
Actually, the only one I think he didn't do well on was the Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed his run in Puerto Rico. I enjoyed his run in Continental. I enjoyed when he was booking Memphis. I enjoyed when he was booking the UWF.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed
the UWF. In fact, really, I can look at the UWF and say that from Mid-South, when it became UWF until it merged with Crockett, I never really enjoyed their product. I liked some of their talent, and the talent that Crockett ended up keeping. But like, I didn't really like the product. I didn't really like the champions. Terry Gordy was fine as a opening champion. One Man Gang, no. Bubba Rogers, no.
Dr. Death?
Well, he was the best choice.
Okay, good.
And so he was, I'm not saying he would have been my choice, but by then a lot of people were jumping.
Right.
Already, you know. And so it was obvious they were getting ready to turn Ted DiBiase heel, and then Ted jump before that even could happen.
They had kind of a wild product as well. Like everything was like all over the place, I guess, as far as like chaotic endings and stuff. It was similar to like kind of ECW or whatever, pre-Attitude Era types. You know what I'm saying?
Savannah Jack as TV champion. Well, again, Dick Slater was kind of booking the end of
Dick Slater.
The end of Mid-South. Dick Slater had a bad habit when he would take over the book somewhere. He'd win all the championships. Literally, he did it in Mid-Atlantic and he did it in Mid-South. He'd come in and win all the championships, and then he would give them away or something like that, and then
Fuller did the same thing too, I think, didn't he?
yes,
Yeah.
There were several that kind of did that.
Yeah.
And it was. I just didn't enjoy that time, is what I'm trying to say. Right. I never really enjoyed it, and I always found Gilbert's booking to be more chaos than. Sometimes when he had good talent, it worked out well. In Memphis, it was great because Memphis was kind of chaos just in general. And but like I never liked his booking. I wasn't following Continental at the time, so I can't say anything about it. But I don't like his booking in Mid-South, but I was not the biggest Memphis fan just in general. And so, But getting back to what we were originally talking about, which is Billy, at some point, Billy does need to. He needs to understand that you can't do this forever and not wear yourself out and not do things, and you're not succeeding. Where is he? Is he really any better off than when he started Power on YouTube? I mean, is Roku that much better? I mean, I suppose there's probably more money in it for him, but is it a lot?
Well, there's no way for us to get numbers, really, right? They don't release numbers, so we don't know if anybody. We don't know. I mean, probably less people have Roku in their home than they do YouTube, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There's also Roku versus Amazon Fire Stick, right? So there's people that are really dedicated to the Fire Stick. I'm a Roku guy personally. So, I mean, they might get some advertising dollars, but what is it? A couple $100 a month for all we know? You know what I'm saying? $250?
I've talked to people within the industry and said that Roku isn't really a big game changer. You're not getting rich being on Roku.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then I don't know, I feel like the perfect formula is a combination of all three. Be on Roku, sure. And be on Wrestling Central. That's also now on Pluto as well. Great. Okay. But then, put some fresh content on YouTube. Do two different shows. They have so much film in the tank that they could be doing two separate shows right now. And we would all be like, this is awesome. Well, maybe not.
They're letting us sit 4 months to wait to watch the show. 3 months rather.
And they could very easily clip a match from I almost said Memphis, from Seaverville. They can clip a match from Troy, Missouri. They can clip a match from Cleveland, Ohio. They can clip a match from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and put that in with some promos and 1 or 2 matches that they filmed at a TV taping, and you've got a completely different television show.
Yeah. Basically, what you're saying is creating show using footage from the territories. You know what I mean? There's, like you said,
might need to run more often, though. I mean,
I'm sure that there's so much content between, what is there, 5 or 6 groups now?
If you took one match a month or one match a week from every territory, let me say that differently. If you used one match from the territories and one match from the tapings and maybe a from the vault match and added some promos, you easily could get 45 minutes of TV for YouTube or for.
I want you to think about this.
Yeah.
It's been, hold on just a second, because of course they don't do things in order anymore.
Sure. Why would you?
Well, because that would make sense. but it's been
Only since you looked at me. Oh.
It's been almost 3 months since Joe Casana has put out a show.
Really? A TV show or just a show, like an event, rather?
Since he's done a YouTube show. Since
That's
he's released
wild.
something on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he typically releases whatever shows he does on. The last two or three YouTube shows were joint ventures too. They weren't just him. I know World League went like 2 or 3 months in between. We see when Exodus Pro, because they live stream their shows on.
They didn't live stream the last one.
And so
Exodus normally does, right? Are you talking about World League? Okay, Exodus normally does once a month, as far as the live shows.
But they did.
I don't think they're once a month.
I think it might be quarterly, like maybe four or 5 times a year. But they didn't. The last show that they did didn't make YouTube. They didn't put it on the NWA YouTube channel like they had previously.
Do they have their own that maybe it's on? Or no? I'm just asking because I don't really know.
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's hard to get that stuff to record it and put it on YouTube.
It's not hard.
Cheap. It's not easy. But see, that's just it. A lot of these wrestling companies don't have that extra money to do it.
Right.
Or
they
have a great person who does it, and then all of a sudden they want more money.
You can also, I know I'm talking way out of maybe, but you do something like, I'm sure like you guys do. How much, Jaden, how much do you pay to have a guy come in and record your shows and put commentary over the shows and stuff like that? How much do you?
I don't pay anybody because Dr. Zirconium does it, but
I'm sorry,
probably way less. Probably way less than what most people are getting, unfortunately, and that's why when people start getting the job and they're all happy about it, they ask for more money.
Yeah, see, well, that's the other thing. There's a guy out here, Dave. There's a guy out here, Caesar. There's a guy out here. I'm just saying, there's guys in the community that own the equipment that will do that stuff for relatively cheap, $75 or less a lot of times, and then edit it together for an extra $25. You know what I'm saying? And then guess what? There's your content. You know what I mean? Paradise Alley, which is one of the companies I do a lot of work for. We pay somebody out of pocket, and then we put the commentary over, and then we edit the matches into television episodes.
I mean, we've had people that have done trades.
Yes.
Out here and stuff like that, but it does get hard after a while. Like Jaden says, he goes, at first everybody's willing to do it for cheap or for free.
Yes. Because they want the experience,
right?
So,
then they decide, well, I'm not making any money, and I'm doing this to make money. So if you want me to do it, then you need to start paying me real money.
Well, we had a film student that for a while was doing stuff for free, coming down from Rhode Island and filming a lot of stuff for us, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he wanted to hand it off to his buddy that wanted to edit, but then his buddy, wanted to ask for more. Basically, we were almost paying double. You know what I mean? So we just decided to get out of that game using them and just bringing other people in. And it's just like you said, if people get the taste for money and then they're like, oh man, I'm driving a couple hours, then they just keep asking for more and more money eventually.
But the point I was trying to make is that in order to record a show, you have to be having shows.
Yes, well, there's that too. Yeah.
And so if Joe Casana isn't running the show for 3 months, there's nothing to record, and so there's nothing to give the NWA every week.
Well, and again, I guess what I'm saying is I don't need I don't need fresh new content from the territories.
Well, there's a lot of stuff in the can, basically, is what that have been sitting around for a while.
And if I'm asking for one match a month or one match a week, it doesn't I don't need a match from Joe Casana every week. I don't need a match from Exodus Pro every week. I need one match from a territory a week for 4 weeks in a month, so I can rotate in throughout the territories, and it's just you're showcasing stuff that isn't getting the big spotlight put on it. So you have that match with Dante Casanova and PB Smooth for the title. Yes, it was on the live stream, but a lot of people didn't see that. Here you can show it, or you could have the match with Carson Drake winning the WLW title from Camaro Jackson, a couple months ago at WLW. Boom! Now we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't need
I think
fresh content. I just need some content.
Yeah, and yeah, it's kind of like like you said, it's like I don't know, like what's going on out there in the other groups or even something that one of the guys works in indie, one of the champions or something like that. If that they might be able to have access to that, they film it. Northeast Wrestling up here gets guys from the NWA. Slade was on one of the shows. You know what I mean?
If Mondo faces, Ben Bishop or Tommy Invincible or Ray Jazz or Bam Bam Malone or QT Marshall or Brad Baylor, I would love to have that match available for NWA fans to watch. I'm not saying that that's always possible, but even clips are nice too.
Yeah, I mean, make it like I'm sure you guys remember the old show that Bill Apter used to host, the Pro Wrestling This Week.
Wrestling USA.
Pro Wrestling This Week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it could be something like that. Look at what Dave Scooby says. Bring back a territory show as NWA USA. I love that idea. I love that. I miss NWA USA. That was the greatest 30 minutes on my Saturday morning.
Really, I found it horrible.
Oh, go to hell.
I did. I watched NWA USA.
I thought it was better than watching Power at one point. Like, seriously.
Well, that's like saying getting kicked in the left nut's getting better than getting kicked in the right nut.
I do have a preference. If you're going to kick me in the nuts, I prefer it to be the right one.
Okay. All right.
Which one's the wrong one?
They're all wrong, Jaden. They're all wrong. All right. Let's get to Power.
I hated it.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I watched it actually on Tuesday.
Okay.
I got home and watched it.
This was called Beautiful
What's
Disaster.
wrong with you? Because the last couple times you've been actually watching the shows. When I first started here, you weren't watching Power. Like, what happened?
I like Roku, even though I hate I hate moving past the stupid skits because there's a 15-second back button on Roku, but there is on the Roku on my phone, but there is no go forward button. 15 seconds.
There's not.
No, you have to actually try to make the screen large and try to hit a place. And like, I went too far. Go back up. Never mind. I'm back in the stupid skit. Let me go ahead. What the hell? What is this? Let me go back. Oh crap! I'm in that same spot. I wasn't a stupid skit before. How the hell can I get away from this?
So this week's episode called "Beautiful Disaster," hinting at maybe the finish of the show. It starts off with Daisy Kill and Talos versus Baron Von Storm. Now, the surprise story. The surprise story here is that Talos and Daisy Kill, it seemed like they were teasing animosity and tension between the two at the Crockett Cup. We didn't see them at the Tampa TV tapings following the Crockett Cup. This is the first time we've seen Talos back in the NWA in a non-wrestling capacity, but he was the corner man, if you will, for Daisy Kill. Now, before the match even starts, actually the bell rang, so the match had started. Daisy addresses the New York audience and is talking about how New York is a dead town, and and I kept thinking, like, this isn't New York City, this is Long Island, right? Like, there's a big difference, right? Am I confused in that?
No, there's quite a difference. Yeah,
I kind of
calling Long Island New York City is like calling a Puerto Rican a Mexican.
Okay, that's not something you ever want to do. So I feel like that was, and I don't know if that was for cheap heat or what, but it didn't hit with the crowd, right? Like, they didn't give a shit.
Right.
And
they're from Long Island. They're already depressed.
This was a beautiful city. I'm just telling you, this area of Long Island. I wanted to go back there, so I thought it was beautiful. I was at this event in case anybody doesn't.
And I actually love the way the building looks too.
It looks like you're watching like the old school NWA on TV. You know what I mean? From like the 80s and stuff like that. That's what it looked like. And it looked like an old school wrestling program, like the way that it looks on TV. Live, it was, this was a fun show live. And it just so happens this particular TV show is featuring mostly the low points of the evening.
Well, and I feel like, I like, as you say that, I feel like they should have edited this better. Like, next week we get 2 title matches. Mm-hmm. 2 title matches, and I'm like, next week looks like a much better show. Like, couldn't we have mixed one of these low points with one of the high points from next week? Like, it could have balanced itself out, because I felt like the show in total was not, maybe a C.
They could have put some of these shows on YouTube, or some of these matches on YouTube, to be
I
honest
felt like
with
these
you.
first two matches shouldn't have been on Power. Like, I wouldn't.
Not at all.
If this was my money, if this was my show, if this was my reputation, I would not have put either one of these first two matches on the card on TV.
This is the NWA. It's supposed to be the elite, right? Of professional wrestling.
What? More so than that, this is the signature live event. These are supposed to be the top tier matches. And I'm sorry, I love Tim Storm. I was grateful for the times that I got to speak with him. I thought he was a phenomenal world champion, but that was like 8 years ago, and he's not there anymore. And watching him in the ring right now is not like, I'm not like, oh yeah, man, can't wait to see Tim Storm wrestle. No, I'm like, God, it's hard to watch. And I like the guy. And I, if there was a way to mask it, like they had him and Jack staying as a tag team, rest in peace, Jax. That was, at least I could live with that. But putting him in a one-on-one match with somebody who I feel like could be an up and coming, like a future star for the NWA, I feel like this doesn't help him. And early on in the match, a clothesline busted open Daisy Kill. Like, he was bleeding from the face. It was pretty nasty, because the blood was coming out quick. And before I know it, the next thing I see, their Baron is bleeding as well. And I'm like, I don't even know what happened to that. And I'm only assuming that maybe the cuff that Tim was wearing on the clothesline might have accidentally busted open Daisy, and then somehow maybe he hit himself and got himself cut open on the face. It was kind of sucky, because like nothing really big happened for either one of them to be bleeding. I kind of thought it was a John Moxley match or something, because all of a sudden the dude was bleeding. I didn't even know what was going on. After a very limited exchange between the two, which was a body or a clothesline body slam, Baron locks in the claw, but not the way he typically hits it, which is in the front, but on top of the head, almost like Kurgan back in the day. And Talos offers a chair, slides it right to Daisy, who uses it to attack, to break the hold, gets disqualified, and then beats Tim with a chair that he doesn't even really sell. And the whole point of this match was what? This match is an F. This should not have been on Power. Do you guys have anything you would like to add to that?
It was boring, just boring.
Hated it.
Tim Storm just walked. He is, and it's because obviously his age. He's older. He can't move. He couldn't walk to the ring. He looked like he was going to trip down the stairs coming from the stage. You know what I mean? Like, he was just looked like he needed guidance. And it's sorry, Tim. But it's like, and I'm a huge Tim Storm fan. I love the guy, and I think he was great at one point, but he should not be out there like this currently.
It was hard.
It was definitely a hard watch.
DK, you have anything you want to add, or can we move on?
Move on, please.
All right. We get a very impassioned Crossfire promo, and I didn't hate this. Again, what are they supposed to do? Go out there and be like, well, we're going to get our asses handed to us. No. Kylie is kind of like the fire behind Crossfire. Tommy is not good. I understand that he has a history, like he ran the promotion and maybe he wrestled at some point, but his promos aren't good. His in-ring isn't good. I could use less of Tommy. We get introduced to Hunter again. Hunter makes DKM sad. And then we get Tyler Franks, who Tyler Franks is all right. I don't have a single problem with Tyler Franks.
Is that the skinny dude?
Hunter's the very skinny one.
No, there's like the guy with the regular trunks. That's the guy that I couldn't figure out his name. I couldn't realize his name.
Tyler Franks was the one that wasn't Kylie's dad or Kenzie's boyfriend.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's who the guy I'm thinking of. He looked like he was like stepping into the ring, like he was going to literally break himself, like fall. Like he looked like he tripped over the ropes twice getting into the ring the first, like one time. So,
he's small compared to everybody else that's in the thing.
That
except for Hunter.
Okay.
Hunter makes
Oh,
him like he's a
well,
giant.
Hunter's got like long hair, right? With
Yeah.
the black,
Yeah.
with the black. This is the guy with the trunks and skinny and short hair. Like he stepped over, put one leg in. He looked like he was about to trip, and then he puts his other leg in. And it looks like he's about to literally go flying, and somehow he caught himself. So he saved himself.
He's had a few decent matches within the NWA, but yeah, I mean the promo was what it was.
Mhm.
I think this was the only real skit of the night. We get Tiffany Nieves on the boardwalk. Actually, the second one. We get Tiffany Nieves on the boardwalk with the conflict resolution therapist, life coach, whatever. I don't get it. Like Tiffany Nieves doesn't need someone to cut promos for her. That's probably what she's a very good wrestler. She's good promo too. I don't feel like she needs someone to help get her over. And you've got Miss Star. If you're gonna, if anyone should be there getting her over, it should be Miss Star. But no, we get this guy who was in a throwaway bit from 2 seasons ago, and he's still making appearances. I don't know who he is or why he keeps coming back. But Tiffany does say you can't talk, or she says she gets the job done, and you can't say anything as long as she's getting the job done. And then the therapist says some weird shit like, because she's my patient, I can't tell you anything about our relationship. And it's like, if she's your patient, you shouldn't have a relationship. Like, anyway, garbage throwaway segment. We don't need to say anything more about it. We'll move on. That takes us to the Crossfire joke.
Real quick, I have a joke.
Let's hear it.
I was watching this, and it reminded me of Timu Mercedes Monet.
What do you mean?
Like somebody, how she overacts and she's that over thing. It just felt like that on a Timu version of that, just that whole segment.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And like, look, and I think Tiffany Nieves is better than this. I think this kind of stuff weighs her down when she should be a superstar. I feel like this kind of takes away from her shine. Anyways, we get the 4-person tag team street fight. I didn't take a lot of notes on this because I just thought it was awful.
It sucked. Live, this was probably even worse live. I mean,
Yeah.
believe it or not, because it was very confusing live. And I don't like mixed matches, guys against girls, etc., etc.
Yeah.
The intergender part of it. And I do have to say, the one shining star out of this entire match, I'm sure you guys can figure it out, was AJ Kazana. Everything else was just garbage. Joe Kazana did his part, whatever. Joe's a legend in my eyes, but the match was just garbage.
I didn't hate Kylie going beast mode. Hitting guys with a stick is different than hitting guys with a fist.
Yes, yes.
But anyways, they kind of paired off. It was Judy Lee Thomas, who we've never seen before on NWA, representing Joe Kazana, squaring up with Kylie. Tommy Henry, Kylie's dad, kind of was going toe-to-toe with KC. Hunter kind of squared up with AJ. And then Tyler Frank ended up with Bullwhip. And again, Bullwhip is someone we haven't seen on TV before. The 2 notes that I wrote were Tommy should never be in the ring.
Never.
Tommy Henry does not look like a trained wrestler. He doesn't sell very well. He doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. And like he might have a good mind for the business, but in this match he shouldn't be there. He should have brought anybody else in the world to be in this match.
And he was a wrestler at one point in his career, correct? From what I understand.
That's what they tell me. I don't see any evidence to indicate otherwise.
I mean, I thought his fists were terrible. He was doing this. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he was not entertaining in the slightest or convincing. His gear sucked too. I'm sorry. He just looked like he was just there to be on TV. You know what I'm saying?
He was a wrestler at some point in his career. He must not have been a very good wrestler at some point in his career because he doesn't look like a wrestler. He doesn't act like a wrestler.
Well, how old is he? Probably our age, maybe. Well, you're a couple years younger, but you know what I'm saying.
I would say probably in his mid to late 40s.
Okay, so it could also have been maybe a good 10 or 15 years since he's competed. Maybe he did not last very long. So, and I don't know. It's just, yeah. I'm sorry, I can't even go on. I don't even know what else to say.
No, you're good. The next thing I wrote was Jody isn't ready for TV. She had an interesting look. Judy,
yeah.
she had an interesting look, and I'm sure over time she could get better. But like, I feel like this was too big of a spotlight. Again, this is a signature live event. This is supposed to be the top. This is the 77th anniversary show. We talked a few weeks ago about, there were no real showcases matches for the territories. What they did showcase in this match was garbage. And you're telling me you didn't have a single female better on the JCP roster than this? Bring back Roxy. I'd rather have Roxy in the ring than this chick. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have potential to be something better down the road, but this was not it. The whole match was kind of DK was messaging me while he was watching it. He's like, oh, they botched that. Oh, they botched that. And I'm watching it earlier in the day. I'm like, oh, that's bad. Oh, that's ugly. This was terrible. And again, if we're putting this on TV, it needs to be so much more cleaner, crisper. And what are we doing with AJ Kazana? Because this guy, I feel like, has so much potential, and we're putting him in these dog shit matches where he cannot get over.
He's going out there trying to elevate his brother, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
and it's sad because I think he could be a top single star for the NWA.
I had AJ on the show a while ago, and I also had Joe Kazan on the show a while ago, and they were both raving about how good KC is, and I'm like, okay, cool,
I haven't
man.
seen it. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet, and I know he's earlier in the business, he's younger in the business, but at this point, he's had enough time that AJ should not be carrying the entire load.
He's been in there for over a year, right, KC? Because he was at 76 as well on the show.
He was at 70. He was there at 75 the night after in Nashville when they did the TV tapings, and he started teaming with his brother directly after that night.
It's been that long. Holy crap!
Yeah, so it's been 2 years that he's been a part of the NWA, not just training at Kazana Promotions, not just doing the territory stuff. It's been 2 years being in the NWA, and he's still very, very green. Do DK, Jaden, do you guys have anything you want to add?
I wanted to gouge my eyes out. I hated this. This was so incredibly bad. It was an embarrassment. It would be my luck that I'm like, hey, you know what? The NWA's been decent. Let me show you something. And this will probably be the episode that unfortunately they would show.
DK, did you fall asleep? If you're talking, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Hey, things happen. I forget sometimes there's a mute button on the microphone itself.
You're good.
You want me to talk about that crap?
You don't have to.
That's pretty much that's probably the explanation. You want me to talk about that crap?
It was Botch City.
Yep.
I stopped counting at 6.
And that was 7 moves in.
No, it was 6 moves in. Anyway, it wasn't good. It didn't make sense. I mean, like, I didn't buy, even with the kendo stick, I didn't buy the beating that Kylie was putting on AJ, although I did understand the, when she hit KC low, that at least made sense. Of course, I don't like intergender stuff. I don't like gimmick matches. They're way too overused in wrestling today. AEW had 2 Blood and Guts, which is their version of
War Games.
And WWE is about to have 2 War Games matches because, you can't have a specialty match with men without having the exact same specialty match with women. And they don't mean anything anymore. So what?
Yeah.
And, when they lost track, the female wrestler wrestles for Joe Kazana, where she wrestles under the name Big Booty Judy.
Holy crap! What a
Where-
shitty name. Oh my
I
god.
love that name. What are you talking about?
Oh,
Big
my God.
Booty Judy. Bring that booty juice.
Where she kind of has a gimmick. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar to ODB.
Okay.
Okay.
Just kind of a tough, badass woman, type thing. Except for where ODB would always mess with her chest. Big Booty Judy would always, and you saw her do it like several times in the match, it'd always pound on her butt. And her and Kylie had the worst botch in the entire show, where Kylie was having to tell her to run to the ropes and then run into her leg, which she already had up, or something like that. It was just terrible. And then shortly after that, they did the thing with the Cassana brothers where JC throws the sad guy, or KC throws the sad guy to AJ, who picks him up. And then I think he's supposed to do that Braun Strowman power slam type thing or something like that. But instead, he nearly drops him on his head.
Yeah.
Which luckily, Hunter's so light that I don't think it would hurt him, because there's no weight on top. So, and that was just two of the countless things. The interactions were bad. Tommy Henry doesn't look good. The punches he threw looked horrible. The chops he threw looked worse. And here's the part that I'm kind of gonna really lay on and even put some spoilers out there. But the same team keeps winning. They keep having this contest between them and all sorts of different matchups, and the same one always wins.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't understand what you're trying to do here. I just don't. It's not good. It's not interesting. You're not getting my attention with it. You're making me cringe. It sucks.
I know what they're trying to do. You want to know?
Don't tell me, because I don't want to know.
It's obvious. It's people with an ego trying to act like big stars. It's people that want to put themselves out there so they could act like that they're a big part of the television show. They should realize they don't add to anything. They should just leave Kylie and just leave the Kazanas and then get rid of everything else. Maybe keep that Tyler Frank or whatever the guy's name was. I don't remember. But get rid of everything else and just put them in regular stuff and stop putting guys out there so they can get their TV time so they can act like they're big stars. It's the same thing that independent people who don't get booked anywhere else because they're the drizzling shits and they run their own show and they put themselves all over it. It's the same exact principle. I'm sure we've all seen it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't ever want to see anything like this again. I don't like over the top storylines. It's part of the reason. The reason I don't watch AEW is because they have over the top storylines, over the top in ring shit, and there's just nothing good. And this is the same thing. It's just like, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Wrestling fans tend to like wrestling. There aren't many wrestling fans that watch WWE, but in general, a wrestling fan likes wrestling, and you're not going to out WWE. So stop putting in stupid commercial breaks when you don't need to. That don't align with the commercial breaks that Roku puts in.
Yeah.
It's stupid. In fact, the last one time they did it, they went to commercial break and then just went right back to the match.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what the F word are they doing?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, look, I could have lived with the first match. I didn't need it, but I could have lived with it.
Sure.
This one, no.
It's a no for me, dog. It's a bit pitchy, dog.
No, it wasn't pitchy.
Had
It's
nothing to
just,
do with dog.
Sorry.
It's just no.
With that being said, let's move on.
Please.
That in between that match, we had a Pope promo where
Yay.
I love Pope. I don't know if I need Pope versus Mims, but that's what it seems like we're getting anyways. And the Pope says that Mims still has to be taught. That Pope thinks that Mims is too arrogant. And then he ends it with he's not done with Mims. So apparently we're going to be getting a Mims versus Pope showdown, which is weird because what the Pope did to Mims basically cost him the title to Mondo. Now, remember, Mims was a heel. Mondo was a heel. If anything, Pope was a face. But what Pope did was a heel move. And the way he's cutting this promo sounds very heelish. So now do we have Mims still a heel, or is he going to be a babyface when we see him next? That was a little confusing to me. When people say, "Oh, the booking's not so bad," this is when I say, "No, the booking sucks." Because what are we doing here? What are we trying to prove here? Then
Who says the booking's not that bad? Do they need to get their eyes checked? Do they need to be electroshock therapy?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Do we need to get a DeLorean and go back in time and bring a coat hanger to their parents? Come on, sorry, seriously.
So then after the match, we get the Aaron Stevens and Mondo promo, which this was like the chillest Mondo I've ever seen. He was very relaxed. They were talking about the Tampa and then talking about dominance and how, Stevens projects that it will only be a matter of time before Slade becomes a world junior heavyweight champion. It's only a matter of time before Carson Drake regains the television champion. And in due time, the Slime Balls will play the role that they're supposed to play. This wasn't a bad promo from Aaron Stevens, which leads us to the bad promo from Carson Drake, who is talking to his cousin LJ Lockjaw and said, "Hey, well, your first appearance wasn't so good." Remember, he did get to the finals of the Battle Royal. And he goes, "But I want to mentor you the same way Aaron Stevens is mentoring me." Okay. I'm not trying to keep score with this anymore. This doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. Then we get Kenzie versus Markova. And the first part of the match is almost 90% Markova. Excuse me, Kenzie Paige, excuse me. The first part of the match is almost 90% Kenzie. Markova is taking a lot of Kenzie's offense. They interrupt the match to give us a Tom Latimer promo where Tom, again, very cool, calm, and collective, basically said that Thrillbilly is stupider than he thought, which I thought was kind of funny. You had Thrillbilly just so fired up last week during his promo, and Tom was just kind of whatever. Another day at the office. Then you had Kratos and Odinson with the Crockett Cup celebrating their Crockett Cup victory. Saying next week they're going to get their opportunity to go against the 2023 Crockett Cup winners, Murnochs, for the tag titles. So that's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to both of those matches. And once we get back, the match is almost flipped entirely because now Markova is in control of the match. The tide changes after she connects with the missile dropkick. That missile dropkick has won many matches for Markova, but doesn't put Kenzie away. Then she connects with a Kenzie cutter, but that also doesn't get her the victory for Markova. Kenzie then connects with a package pile driver, a move that we haven't seen Kenzie ever do. But that doesn't give her a 3 count. And the match starts getting really hot at this point. The girls are exchanging offense. It's looking very believable. They're both throwing it all out there. They did a good chop exchange where they're both getting into it. Very ferocious. Markova connects with an avalanche. Is my mic weird? You guys just got to tell me I can move it. Markova hits what they call an avalanche jazz stinger. I've never even heard of that name before. And it's the weirdest name I could think of for a pro wrestling move, but that was only good for 2. Then Markova hits a beautiful destruction. I thought it was beautiful disaster. Beautiful destruction, but only gets a 2 count out of it. And then connects with 3 more beautiful destructions before hitting a double hand DDT and getting the 1-2-3 pin. I'm sure I'm not giving the match enough flowers because I think it was really good, and especially considering how bad everything else was, this felt like an amazing match. And it was good to see Markova win the title. For everything that I said about Kenzie earlier in this evening, Markova has been putting in the work. Markova does work the territories. And Markova should have had this opportunity to wrestle for this title and win the title a lot sooner, in my opinion. But it is what it is. New champion, and not a horrible match, in my opinion. So I'm going to ask Jaden first. What did you think about this matchup, sir?
It was good. It wasn't the best. I actually seen both wrestlers wrestle better. I've seen them wrestle against each other better before. This match felt like it was at 85% of what they can do. So it felt like it was just a little behind, a little something. It wasn't what I'd seen out of both competitors in the past, and it wasn't what I was hoping for Markova's win. And it was, I think part of it is because it was just designed that way. I think the way they planned out the match wasn't built right to really, I think, help the situation and get the biggest pop for Markova. It was good, but I definitely seen them do better. Anybody else?
I thought it was a fun match. Like you said, it probably wasn't their best, but it was definitely very, very, very enjoyable. And honestly, it was one of the better matches of the evening, of the entire show. Best match for this week for sure on this television show, but as part of 77, I thought it was one of the better matches as well.
You could have put a test pattern on this slot and it would have been the best thing this week.
That's for sure.
And for anybody who don't know what a test pattern is, Google it. What about you, DK? Are you talking and we don't hear you?
No, I'm reading that Joe Hendry has officially signed with WWE.
Clap.
So he's no longer a TNA talent. He's now officially a WWE talent.
Correct.
All right. I liked the match. I thought it was good. I thought they did a good job. They did have a little bit of problem. I see this a lot in a lot of different wrestling promotions. But like the person that needs to be the winner kind of gets dominated early. We saw that at WrestleMania a few years back with the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They had a lot of great competitive matches, but at WrestleMania, because I guess the Usos were putting over KO and Sami, they seemed to dominate a good part of the match, especially early. But overall, I thought the match was good. I thought they looked good. I thought it kind of helped Kenzie that they needed 3 more of those kicks in the corner to put her away. So Jay and I were talking, offline a little bit about it. We both kind of agree it was probably a 7 or 8, out of 10. Like Jaden said, they put on better matches, even with each other. But Ric Flair said that he and Ricky Steamboat, he gets upset when people talk about their great trilogy from '89. He goes, because it wasn't even some of their best matches. Some of their best matches were back over the U.S. title.
Yeah.
In the 80s and late 70s and stuff. It was a good match on a top show. Right person won, and we'll go with that.
Rick, do you have anything more you want to add, or are we good?
Nope, I gave my opinion. I'm good with the rest. I enjoyed it for the most part. Like I said.
I think it was a saving grace of this episode.
Absolutely, 100%.
I could have done without the entire episode. If you'd just given me this match and a couple promos to go with it, I'd have been happier. But I guess, that's all there is to talk about as far as NWA. We celebrated the 702 days of one Kenzie Paige. We celebrated Natalia Markova becoming the new NWA Women's World Champion. We talked about Mike Mondo his national championship run and coming at the most opportune time, and who we'd like to see challenge Mike Mondo for that national championship, both in the NWA and outside of the NWA. We recapped Power, and I'm not sure what else there is more to speak about. So I know that there's always something popping with Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. And since I can't get the great Dr. Lawrence Zirconium to come on this program, I'll use his proxy to do his speaking for him. Jaden, what's going on with Dog?
All right, first of all, there is a moving on the dates for Rowan University. Rowan University wanted to move the date up for their event. They could not wait to have dog action so much that they wanted to get it even sooner. So instead of April, they moved the event to March. So on Friday night, March 6th, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators will return to Rowan University for WrestleMania, and still hate that name. Rowan After Hours is the Raw, and it's WrestleMania. Not much is scheduled because there's a lot of talent now waiting to get here back. So I don't know what's going on yet because I can't really tell you because we're waiting to hear back from some talent. Unfortunately, the Jack Vaughn won't be there now. I know that for a fact. He's already booked somewhere else that date, so we won't have the Jack Vaughn. Waiting to hear back from some other talent that's part of it, so maybe. And we're also trying to get some replacement talent too. So I can't announce much on it. Then on April the 4th, we'll be at the South Jersey Geek Fest again. That's going to be pretty fun. It's nice to have real pro wrestling at the South Jersey Geek Fest instead of some whatever else what they had recently. The other time they were the South Jersey Geek Fest happened, so you get to see some Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators action. Also, June 14th at Bill's Barbecue in Vineland, New Jersey, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators will be there. Already signed, and I know Rick's going to like this, is we're going to see Wrecking Ball Legursky, and we're going to see Ken Powers, and we're going to see why can't I remember this masked guy's name? Ichiban.
Oh, number one.
Yeah, so Ichiban is also going to be there. Plus, as of right now, all the current champions are scheduled to be there, assuming they're still champion, plus great wrestlers, and only great wrestlers because Dog only books great wrestlers from now on. So make sure that's going to be fun at Bill's Barbecue. That's a Sunday, and it's going to be in the afternoon. And I know they were trying to get some big stuff going on, but some people way overpriced themselves. So that's not going to happen, what they were working on. But there's, Dog's trying for that. And if you're more locally, that we're doing a meet and greet on the 29th, 2 days after Thanksgiving of November. We're going to be at Masso's, the Botanical Gardens in Masso's, for Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. We'll have a table. Currently scheduled for the table is Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators champion Vinny the Fixer, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators tag team champion Primal Fear, the Rowan After Hours Colonial Cup, or whatever they named their tournament, winner Adrian Soriano. Dylan Mesh will be there, and the very popular Silver Lobo. Have no fear, Silver Lobo will appear. And so that's going to be on that, so you can come check that out. I think there's supposed to be a match that they're taking out from they separated from the Rowan College of Burlington County. So one of the matches is going to be separated from that and downloaded separately. And I think they have a couple of YouTube and Instagram shorts that haven't been put up there yet. So you might see that if you follow it. But, A, without having somebody record it, and B, without having action, it's kind of hard to have TV or any kind of action. But still, there's stuff to watch. There's over 20,211 billion hours of content on the Dog's YouTube channel. Just take my word for it.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Rick, what do you got coming up?
I just dropped 2 podcasts early in the week. I want everybody to go check them out if you can. You'll love this one, I'm sure. Richard Sartain, one half of the Ding Dongs from WCW, finally got to sit down and have a great conversation with him. Anybody that loves old school NWA from the late 80s, 1989, 1990, WCW from that era. It was really cool. Very kind gentleman, generous with his time. And I dropped an episode with Sergeant Antonio Andolini out of New York. Great professional wrestler. Spent some time with the Monster Factory in the earlier 2000s and then kind of went away to the war after 9/11, then made his comeback a couple of years ago. And I've had the opportunity to work with him over since I guess about the summer. And I was completely impressed and just a very kind gentleman. I had a great episode of conversation with him. Coming up, we got the legendary Calypso Jim next week, this coming Monday. And the original Vladimir Koloff, ECW, NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling era of ECW wrestler. He teamed with Ivan. I got Max Payne coming up as well, former WWF superstar, and so much more. And I'm working on something very big, and I cannot wait. I'm sure you'll all be the first to know about it when I get confirmation.
And if you haven't done so already, make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe. Go check out the Pro Wrestling Wire on YouTube.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
And make sure you go follow the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators on their YouTube channel as well, that's where all the content's at. And then also, if I could just plug, I had about 10 minutes with Joe, Samoa Joe, this past weekend, and I got to talk to him with about a couple of topics that I've been wondering about over the years, including his time with UPW, his time in 01. We talked about a little bit of TNA, a little bit of ROH, and of course AEW. And I had a great time interviewing him, and I hope you guys would check that out if you haven't done so already. That is available. It's a short listen. It's a quick listen, but I think it's worth your time. And that's going to do it for us this week, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much for being here. And until next time, we'll see you at the matches.
Do I have to talk? Thank you for listening to the Alliance Guys podcast, a project of alliance-wrestling.com. Are you a big fan of the NWA? Well, there's about 7 of us, so make sure you like it and talk about how great this podcast is. If you want to talk about other things that go on this channel, make sure you listen to the other Alliance Guys podcasts. And make sure to listen to Jay every Tuesday night for the pre-party. Whoop, 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 whoop. And that way he talks about what's going on in NWA Power, because he's so gullible and he's such a glutton for punishment. He has to talk about this horrible product twice.